You're planning your travel, but you don't know where to stay. Should it be an Airbnb, a hotel, or a hostel? Let's find out.
Hello friends, you are watching Bananas for the World, and today we're going to answer that question that you're asking if you're a first-time traveler and you don't know where to stay. You've heard about Airbnbs, you know about hotels and hostels, but what should you choose? Airbnb. The first pro for Airbnb is that you get a kitchen to cook in. I mean, sometimes, depending on what you're choosing, but we definitely recommend to stay in an Airbnb with a kitchen. That way you can save money by cooking your own food, you can make your own breakfast, that way you're not going to a restaurant 3 times a day, or you're just always hungry.
Another good pro, which is something that's important to me because I'm the one who does it in this relationship, is laundry. With Airbnbs, you can often find a place that includes laundry in your stay. Saves a ton of money and saves a lot of time because you can do a lot of things like get ready while the laundry's being done.
The third pro for Airbnb is that you get to stay in a local neighborhood. If you don't want to stay in the whole hustle and bustle of the city and be very touristy, then Airbnb is the best place because you get to stay in a local neighborhood, you get to meet some locals, you get to talk to, your hosts and see what their life is like. They can also recommend things to you for what to see or like cool restaurants that you would never find otherwise. Another pro for Airbnb is that your hosts are working for their ratings and they gotta make sure that the ratings are always high, which means they're gonna make sure that the place is clean, they're gonna make sure that they're giving you the very best service that they can, and they're very friendly, and that's just the best part.
I don't think we've ever actually had a bad host. It's always been a really positive experience.
Yeah, and even if you don't like the place, or your expectations were a little bit different, the description didn't really match the place that you loved, we've had those experiences, and the hosts are always so amazing. They'll give you your money back a lot of the times.
Another great pro for Airbnb is their support. If anything is not the way it was advertised in the ad, or you're having any kind of a disagreement with your host, you can always contact Airbnb directly. They're always there to help, and they offer a money-back guarantee.
Now, on to cons. What is our first con?
Definitely a con for staying with Airbnb is that you have to tidy up after yourself. You're staying in somebody's home, there's no maid or no room service to clean up after you, so you really got to make sure you're tidy to, be respectful.
And also don't attract the roaches. Another con for Airbnb is that if you are staying with your host, let's say in a private room or a shared room, you have to respect their space. Sometimes it can get uncomfortable if you're going to cook in the kitchen and the host is there and you kind of have to make small talk. But if you're a social person, that's not a big deal. But a lot of times we like to stay in an entire place. That way we can get a little bit more privacy. But staying in a private room is actually an amazing experience when you want to talk to somebody or get some advice and tips.
We've actually even cooked with some of our hosts. We've had dinner together.
Yes.
And it was an amazing experience. Definitely something you have to try. Even if you're uncomfortable with it, try it once just to get the experience of it.
Yeah, just let them know. Like say, we're going to be cooking dinner tonight. Do you want to join us? Cook for them. It'll be so nice. And then you'll definitely get a 5-star review.
So another con that you need to consider about staying with a host at an Airbnb is that you have to be extra quiet at night and in the morning if you're leaving really early for a tour. So it can get a little uncomfortable, but you have to remember that they have their own lives and they might not work on your schedule.
And another thing is that you're working on rating. So you need to make sure that these hosts like you, that you're respectful of their place. That way you can actually get more Airbnbs and people will accept you.
Right.
Hotels.
So, a great thing about hotels, or the first pro, would be that they clean up after you. Love it. Absolutely love it. That's all I can say.
We love it.
Yeah.
We love not cleaning. Another pro of staying at a hotel is that you get your own private room. So it feels a lot more private. You can walk in as loud as you want at night or leave as early as you want in the morning. And it's not a big deal because of that privacy and that service that they provide for you.
Another great pro for hotels is that they're usually in the center of the city. It's really great getting from the airport because a lot of Uber drivers and taxi cabs and also the shuttle buses that come from the airport know most of the hotels in the area.
A lot of tours also will pick you up at the hotels in the city center. So if you're staying at an Airbnb further away, you're going to have to make your way over to the hotel. But if you are staying at a hotel, it's not a big issue. They'll pick you up right from the lobby.
And also, another great thing about hotels is because they're very centered, is that you're often very close to all the attractions you want to see, often within walking distance.
So what are the cons of hotels? Well, one of the biggest cons is obviously it's a lot more expensive. It's way up there. Hotels are generally more expensive than hostels and Airbnbs, so you gotta pay the price, especially if it's a centered hotel.
Another con is pretty much the opposite of the Airbnb. There's no kitchen for you to cook in. You're constantly buying food and dining out. The laundry, they have laundry service, but you're often paying per piece or per pound. It adds up really quickly.
And because you're staying right in the center in a hotel, you don't get that local experience. You get a very tourist experience, which is amazing if you are there for only, let's say, 3 days and you want to kind of see everything. But if you want to get that local cultural experience and really see what people are like, what people, how people live in those neighborhoods outside of the city center, you don't really get that with hotels. Hostels!
So a great thing about hostels is they are dirt cheap. I've heard and seen hostels that are like $5, $6 a night. So if you're really on a tight budget, that might be the way to go for you.
It's also a great way to find accommodation if you're traveling alone, because they can always squeeze you into like a bed somewhere, because it's super cheap, you can travel for so long.
Also, if you don't even have that $5 or $6 a night, there are certain hostels that will allow you to stay for free in exchange for service. If you help them out in the kitchen or cleaning, they may give you a free night or two as well.
Another big pro for hostels is that you can get very social. You can meet a lot of other expats and other tourists. They have, a lot of times they would have a hostel bar, so you can go there and interact with people and, build your own community in that city. Also, a great thing about staying in hostels is that sometimes people will leave food for you to basically take, like dried rice or packaged ramen noodles or something, so you can get extra cheap and eat their leftovers.
Leftovers. So some cons for staying at a hostel. For me personally, I'm not fond of sharing a room with other people. I like to fart in my sleep, and I don't like other people to hear that.
I don't like to hear that.
So one of the major cons about hostels is you're often sharing a room with other people. You might not be comfortable sleeping with other people, and also you don't know who's in that room with you. You don't know if your belongings are going to be safe. Everything's a big question mark.
Also, in hostels, you have to be considerate of other people because you're sharing a room with them. So if you're coming in late at night, you have to be, extra quiet. You can't turn the light on. But on the other side is that a lot of people won't be considerate to you. So, if they have an early morning flight, they can turn on the light and start packing and making a lot of noise. So just keep that in mind.
So another con to consider is that you're going to be sharing a washroom and kitchen with other people. Now, other people might not be as tidy as you or might not care, and they're going to leave a mess that, it's going to be really uncomfortable for you to go through. So take that into consideration before booking a hostel. So that's it for Airbnb versus hostels versus hotel. I guess at the end of the day, it depends on what you're looking for. If you value saving money over everything else, then maybe hostels is the way to go for you. But if you're looking for better accommodations and cleanliness and service, hotels. And then we find that Airbnb is that happy medium in between the both.
Also, because we travel as a couple, we find that when we split the cost of an Airbnb, it's basically the price of paying for 2 people at a hostel. But we get our own private space, our own private bathroom sometimes, a kitchen, and we get to stay in a local neighborhood. So that's definitely our preference. But let us know in the comments below, what have your experiences been like? Which one do you prefer? And if you have any other pros or cons for any of them that we have missed, let us know in the comments. We love chatting with you guys and getting your opinions as well.
Thanks so much, guys.
Bye!